want to try something different today. I just bought a really dirty bag on Poshmark, and I want to try doing a Chatty clean with me. It's a Le Pliage. It's a light blue bag, and then in the listing it looked really dirty. And she was selling it, I got it for $15. And I've never bought a bag before with the intention of reselling it, but don't know if I want to own this bag. So I'm definitely open to the possibility of reselling it. If it turns out that I think it's authentic, I'll go through that with you when I open it. If I actually decide to sell it, I will take a few extra steps to really make sure, because I don't want to sell a fake bag. And if it comes clean, I would possibly resell it if I decide I don't want to keep it. That is a dirty bag. It's a pretty color. It looks super light. It actually looked beige in most of the pictures. Somebody had asked her for more pictures so you could see that it was really blue, but it's almost like a periwinkle color. Oh, that's pretty. That's prettier than I expected. And now I'm gonna be an old lady and take off my glasses so I can look at the bag a little bit. So this is nice and gold. That's one thing we're gonna check for. This pattern appears to be the regular Le Pliage pattern. Here's another one that I have. They can vary from one to another, but here's one that I have had checked a little more. But it has sort of a diamond pattern on it, and this appears to have that. We want to see white stitching on the outside, and on the underside we want to see the stitching to basically match the flap. So far so good. The zipper pull is also gold. Sometimes they wear off a little bit. Back looks good to me. It says Longchamp Le Pliage Type S, and I am gonna butcher this, Modèle Déposé. And here we're gonna work on the thumbnail for a second, because that's a dirty bag. Let's look inside and see. Oh, it's a little worn around the zipper. That's okay. The inside, flip you inside out so I can really see it, is this tag which says made in China. The old ones were made in France, but some of them are made in China. So being made in China doesn't automatically show it to be a fake. If you see, like on Dooney and Burke bags, some of which now are made in China, but on the older fakes, you would have like a little white paper that just says made in China on it, which is not what the regular tags are from them. If this is a fake, it's a really good fake. So I'm gonna feel comfortable that we can go ahead and clean it. This is one that only has the single pocket on the front. That should tell me the age of this bag. It doesn't tell me fake or not fake. I just want to give you my bag of the day. I carried this Dooney, I think it's called a vintage, it's vintage, Dooney and Burke zip top satchel. And this is like a major weakness of mine, is the like all one color vintage all weather leather Dooney and Burke bags. And this one, which we're going to talk about this concept later, this is one of the bags that I got on Poshmark or Mercari, I don't remember which, for under $30, which is like a weakness of mine, and I have bought too many bags in that range, but I love this bag. This is one of the bags where I think if I could only have one bag, you know, I love her. So if you're not interested in listening to me blab, I will put in a timestamp so you can jump ahead to where I give you like the results of the cleaning. The products I'm going to use, if there were any ink stains, I need to look at that carefully for a minute. If there are any ink stains, the first thing I would do is put the Amedex on it. And I have seen a video of someone cleaning from Amedex, cleaning this color of a Longchamp bag with Amedex completely, just using that to clean. I feel like that's kind of using an elephant gun to hunt for mice. I want to use the mildest cleaner that does the job. At the Longchamp store, they suggested baby wipes to clean this. The baby wipes that I have are actually what was recommended to clean Vachetta leather, so by another YouTuber, and I couldn't tell you who. But they are Huggies. This is actually like British Huggies because he was a British YouTuber, and I am gonna track down exactly what he said. So, but these are just no alcohol, no fragrance, 99% pure water. Who knows what the other percent is? They're pretty mild. So that's what I'll do first. On the inside of the bag, I think some of that's ink, so I'm gonna hit that with Amedex. And then after that, the next mildest soap that I have, before I actually get the bag wet too, I will put a little bit of leather CPR on the leather parts. I've actually seen people throw these in the washing machine. I'm not gonna do that. They seem to survive, but if I'm putting water around leather, it's nice for the leather not to be thirsty when you do it. This leather is in pretty good condition, but I'm gonna apply some leather CPR before I get out the water. First cleaner that I will use is Castille soap. And if that does a good job, then that's all I'll use. If I find that I still have dirt, one thing I could do is actually get out the laundry detergent. This detergent, like when I'm running a load, does a great job on like grubby sleeves on like light colored jackets. It's fantastic. So that seems very similar to me to like what's embedded in the bottom of this bag, which looks like it's just been thrown on the floor of someone's car repeatedly is what I'm gonna guess. It's just like dirt that's been ground in. Although if I get these out, I will also get this out. I will also get these out because I once got this stuff in my eyes and that was no joke. Leather CPR, I can just apply with my hands. You kind of put it on like it's a lotion. And I'm going to try, because it is a little hair greasy, not to get it on the nylon. All right, so the reason I wanted to do a chatty part is that I feel like I bought too many bags last year, and I'm trying not to be judgy with myself. I think that doesn't usually help me actually change my behavior. It just kind of helps me stay stuck in a cycle of like, if I'm just nasty enough to myself, then I can just keep behaving however I want to. I just want to think about what happened. See if I can maybe chart a more intentional course going forward. And I have theoretically been on a no-buy. I kind of, in a way, fell off of it, although I wasn't planning to sell anything, and I have already earmarked more bags to go out than have come in my little recent rush, which I'll introduce you to more of the bags later. They're all Longchamp. Some people don't count Longchamp bags in their collections at all because like this can fold up into nothing. And well, people consider them relatively inexpensive at full price at $125. I don't really consider that relatively inexpensive because I'm cheap like that. But for $15, certainly it's relatively inexpensive. This decision was like, oh, I just really want to clean this bag and I'm paying for an experience, and it sounds weird. I like to clean, but it's like less than I would pay to go to the movies, so we'll call that good. Let's hit the inside of this first. I wrote some notes here. I have a whole who, what, when, where, why little outline here. But if you don't know me, or you haven't talked in a while, which is anyone who used to know me, hang on. Get in on the baby wipe. We're gonna work on the inside first. Let's see what a baby wipe does. Not very much. I think there's a good chance we are looking at ink here. And the Amedex is about to tell us. So I am a divorced empty nester. My kids are both in college in different parts of the country. I sell on Etsy, and I have a little dog walking business, which some months I would say the dog walking business is on the side, And this is April, so it is not November or December. So I would say right now, okay, this is not doing anything, but this is okay. We're just gonna wipe this up and say we've gotten rid of big stuff, and I may not do any more because the Amedex is not touching it. I may call this good enough on the inside, and if I decide to sell it, I like to be really thorough, so I would actually probably turn it inside out and disclose the little dots there, but I mean that doesn't make the bag impossible to use or anything. So I downsized in 2021 when my youngest graduated from high school and was headed off to college. I moved to an apartment and I love it here. And I, reduced a lot of my stuff, including my bags. Love bags. I've always loved bags. I've had different types of bags I've accumulated over the years. I don't think of myself as a collector. Probably at the edge of being a collector, but I don't really have the space or the inclination to think of myself as a collector. But last year, I'll explain how this happened a little more. But what we're really talking about is in the past, so we're gonna let it go. I just don't, I'm trying to do a no-buy this year, but when I have done no-buys in the past, then there's just this like rebound afterwards if I don't spend some time. So this does have like a very slight wear on the corner. With these bags, you can send it back to Longchamp once, and I don't think it's been done to this bag before. They will like kind of tuck in the corners for you, but on this they would say to wait until it's probably all the way through, since they only do it once, and it sort of takes about an inch off the width of the bag. So I'm curious with this baby wipe. I'm not that interested in what I'm seeing on the bag. I don't think I'm gonna see any difference, but do we feel like the baby wipe is picking anything up? A bit. I feel like it's probably good to just knock the easiest to clean dirt off with the baby wipe so that we're not putting soap on top of dirt as much as possible. Like, you don't want to put soap on top of loose dirt so that the soap can work its way into the deeper stuff that's more ground in there. So last year I bought more bags than I really care to count, and I will not count. Most of them were, almost all of them were secondhand. Most were under, I would say $30. It's kind of my point where I'm like, oh, I can, whatever. But if you keep doing that, like every week, it gets to be a lot of bags. And probably about 2/3, I'm not counting, but my estimate would be about 2/3 of the bags have already either been sold or found new homes. That I am currently now at 15. So when this happened, as I kind of said earlier, was between December 2021 and December 2022. I had downsized in June. I cleaned out a lot of stuff. I actually literally don't own a bag. I only own one bag. Let me show her to you. That I owned before, and this one is what I call a non-inventory bag. This used to belong to my grandmother, and it's kind of cute. It's not practical to use because like the pockets were for a Nokia phone, it's cute. I also don't necessarily, it's weird. It was my grandmother's. I would rather keep it in good condition. These can wear out pretty fast if you're like throwing them around. I always like this pattern. I can't remember if I gave it to her or if she found it independently. But this is literally the only bag that I had before I moved that I still own. I've dumped a bunch on my daughter. One sort of big issue was that my daughter, who is vegan, used to be vegetarian, but been vegan since about 2020, doesn't really like me to carry leather bags, or doesn't tell me what to do, but doesn't love leather bags. And she's going to be not here for the foreseeable. And when I think about leather versus non-leather, first of all, non-leather bags are often not that nice. Some are, I guess. There's some super expensive ones coming out now. Tend not to have the durability of leather. Like, look at my bag of the day again. Like, she's got some wear on her, but it's like charming. Now, this bag is probably from the 80s. She's old, and judging from how dirty it was when I got it, I think it's actually spent a considerable amount of time in like a stable environment or something. There was grease and dust just embedded in that bag, and I was able to clean it out. And with a non-leather bag, you get just the finish starts to flake off, and 2-3 years, that's pretty much your lifespan of a bag that's being handled a lot that's not leather. And so it's like double-edged. Like, they don't last very long. So if we're thinking about the environmental impact, and if we're thinking about the ethical impact, this is where I started buying secondhand bags, although I like to buy secondhand. And if you buy a secondhand bag, it already exists. I'm not creating something new. But the other thing with leather bags in general is that they are typically, they're made with basically trash from the food industry. So, I understand my daughter not wanting to carry them. She doesn't give me grief, and I prefer leather bags. So I kind of gave myself permission to own some leather bags, and so that's where the trouble started. Before I moved, because I lived in a townhouse, and my car would just be parked in the garage, and most of the time when I'm leaving to walk dogs, and I would just keep my little wallet, it was like a bigger wallet, and I would keep it in the glove box, and so I always knew I had it, and I would seldom take it out. If I was running into a store, you can take that with you. And if I needed to take a book with me, that's going to be a theme when I talk more about other bags. I would, take a bag like this size, stick that in here, and the book. So especially coming out of lockdown and things lasted a little longer here, that people were being really cautious. I'm pointing, you can't see where I'm pointing, but NIH is right there. So in this area, people just tend to be pretty cautious. I am going to have some warm water and my soap. And this is how Bags Passionate, who's a YouTuber who talks a lot about Longchamp and other French bags. She's French, she's adorable. And this is how she cleans her bag. I'm getting some soap on the cloth. And again, taking off my glasses so I can sort of see what I'm doing. So I bought a lot secondhand, and when you're buying on the Preloved market, you mostly don't have the option of sending things back. So I was kind of buying things I hadn't seen before. I also feel like with bags in particular, although it happens with all sorts of clothing, you don't necessarily know what works for you until you've had it for a while. So it's kind of natural that I would need to experiment a little bit. Okay, I'm starting to see some dirt come off. I think if I can, I want to avoid submerging the bag. I think some people do. immerse the bag in water. I think I want to avoid that. Also might try and see if I like the results with a soft toothbrush, because this is some pretty deep dirt. So as I said, I've kind of put myself on a no buy for this year. Obviously not sticking to it too closely, although I'm going to, this is the new quarter start. We're in this next month, what I'm planning to do, which will hopefully shift my focus to enjoying the bags that I have, is do like track my bags every day, make a little bag of the day picture, or just track the bags that I use. I don't know if I will take a picture every day, because I probably don't switch my bag every day. I do switch a lot though. So I'm hoping to switch my focus off of the new and to focus a little more on using and enjoying what I have. Actually, one of the notes that I wrote to myself is that wanting what you have is an acquired taste. You know, because we are, almost all of us, you know, almost anything. It's more fun to buy something than it is to own that thing. And I think probably, you know, that might, this is just a theory, but I feel like that could be like an evolutionary thing, in that, you know, from the days when we were hunting and gathering, and we had to be motivated to keep, you know, the people who were motivated to keep looking for things were the ones who survived. So it's like a survival, something we needed to survive, and we no longer need that in a way. We procure things so easily, but we want to keep procuring them because they're fun. And so I'm wanting to focus a little more on enjoying what I have. One thing which I'll show you at some point, again, from a bag YouTuber. She does a luxury bag. She does an amazing collection. Jessie Style talked about taking pictures of all of her bags. This also reminded me of what my friend Josie Style used to do. She probably still does it. Where she would take pictures of everything or track down pictures. And I think she had an app that would track what she was using. What Jessie Style, the bag influencer, does is she just takes a picture. She talked about just taking a picture and just making a collage, or I would call it a gallery. And so I have done that. Probably insert that here. And so that was kind of what inspired me to go on this recent spree, though, because I saw some, I was like, oh, I don't actually like those. And found a few inexpensive bags that I thought would complete the look very nicely. I'm gonna just wipe this off so we get a sense of where we are with it. I will rinse more of the soap at some point, but I feel like we're gonna get a sense of whether or not this is clean enough. And for a second, I'm gonna turn on the light so I can see what I'm doing. You need attention, you need attention, you need attention. Woo! Okay, along the folds needs attention. Ooh. Okay. So the Dooney bag I just unboxed, by the way, was a gift. Not the bags that I have bought have all been Longchamp. One is out hopefully for repairs. We saw my one Vera Bradley bag. I had a lot of Vera Bradley bags when my kids were little. So getting back to me and bags and my history with bags, the other time that I was just like looking at bags all the time and thinking about bags and spending as much time, I don't think I had as many bags or as much time as I could, because this was when I was going through a divorce. my kids were very little. I'm talking about when they were like 3, 4. My kids are about a year apart. They were from when they were like 3 and 4 till when they were maybe 6 and 7. So this was, you know, they were really little, and I did actually need good bags because I was going places with them by myself. And, you know, I remember this was back when we would talk on the phone, and I remember one of my like standards for a good bag, I needed outside pockets, which I don't care about at all anymore. Yesterday I wanted outside pockets for one reason, and I like was looking through my whole collection, and I have one that sort of qualifies. I have one that does have outside pockets, but it's dressier. And I was taking a dog to the groomer, so I didn't really need it. Need a dressy bag, but ended up using the bag I used I just showed you, but that has an organizer in it, and we were all fine. I don't need, you know, I'm not like running after toddlers in the same way. Toddlers, preschoolers, whatever. I remember I used to get them on eBay. I would look at all these Vera Bradley bags all the time. And I also had some sports sack bags. And most of those actual bags either just were worn out, or also some of the ones that I still had, just like, they have all these outer pockets, but nothing fits in them. So like, what am I doing with all these outer pockets? And even my keys now, because I'm a dog walker, my keys are kind of huge. But it was interesting to me that the other time that I got very interested in bags was another time in my life when I was sort of in transition and kind of redefining myself. Because as your like kids leave, and you know, I can do anything, but do I do anything? I haven't dated for a long time, and I always thought that I would start dating again when the kids left for college. You know, I was gonna see about switching to a different cleaner, but I feel like we're getting really good progress with this. I think I might hit the corners with the laundry detergent ultimately, because that's what's really seems to be the most stubborn, probably the most ground in. But it was interesting. I just started thinking, like, why bags, like when I'm in a transitional period. And it actually, there's another YouTuber, I love her, Hannah Louise Poston, has been talking recently a lot about the fantasy self and how we tend to like buy things to try to become our fantasy self. For me, bags are the thing that the fantasy self lands on. And when I think about a bag, I'm not just thinking, do I want this bag? My thought is, do I want to be the person who owns this bag? So it's like, if I own this bag, I would be the kind of person who owns this bag. And so Hannah was talking about something similar with red lipstick, where like a lot of us will, if you want to try red lipstick, and that's not my thing, but if you want to try red lipstick, but you feel awkward about it, like you can buy 16 different shades hoping you're gonna get the right one, and you'll find the perfect shade that will suddenly make you comfortable. Or next time you go to Trader Joe's, just put on the red lipstick. And like at some point, it's also like what we do, not what we have, you know. And my life is like a little bit different now. Well, it's a lot different from like a few years ago. I mean, I used to, when my daughter was in middle school, I had some bigger bags, which I don't have anymore. I have one of this size, but I used to take my laptop with me because I was ferrying her around. She's a musician. I mean, she was studying oboe, still studying oboe, but she's getting herself to everywhere now. And even if she needs help, I can't help her because I'm not in the same city. But I was, you know, schlepping the kids around to different practices and rehearsals and whatnot. And I don't do that anymore. I also was going to a lot of exercise classes outside of the house, which I don't do as much. I don't really do that. One thing the pandemic made me realize, it's just an age thing, but I rely on lip reading like a lot in just normal communication. And so like if an exercise instructor is wearing a mask, I can't hear them. Sorry, the light's gonna be weird for a second, but I think I need that. Oh, we've got some junk up here, but actually, like, I don't know if you can see that. It's getting pretty good. Like I said, I think I'm gonna use the detergent on the areas that are like the most stained. Or the most, like, you can just see, oh, I might have another one up here. Like where they're just ground in. And so when I'm like feeling like I'm redefining myself, for whatever reason, bags are the thing that I go to. And I was thinking about earlier childhood stuff. I mean, it wasn't bags. It wasn't bags when I was younger, but just stuff in general. Like I had grandparents who were very generous with their resources, and that was clearly the way that they showed love. And you don't have to be my psychologist here, but like I have to not only buy things to show myself love. That's not, that's obviously not helpful. And the process that I went through in the past year is something I went through in the past year. It's what it is. I'm sorry this light is so terrible, but I can't see what I'm doing. Going forward, what I really want to do is acquire a taste for my own stuff. So if anybody has any ideas or suggestions on how to do that. So that is awfully good. We are really down to the point of just having dirty corner, like almost everything that you would call a corner, including up here by the handles. It's by the handles, it's not by the handles. These are called the ears, I believe. So there's like a dirty spot here. I don't know if you're seeing it. There's a little bit of a dirty spot there and there on both sides. Now we get to the fun part. I'm gonna put on the goggles. Beautiful. I just poured a tiny bit of soap into this little dish here. And let's try it on these corners first. So for the bottom corners, since these are not close to the leather anywhere, I think I'm gonna scrub this and then run it under the sink really with a very low water pressure. I once was using this to clean some laundry, got a stand out from some laundry, and I got it straight in my eye, and that hurt so badly that I am just gonna look like a jerk. Cause ow. Okay, some of the corners are definitely worse than others. I'm just gonna do the bottom in general. Scrub with the laundry detergent because it does seem to be lifting a bit more than the soap. I think that looks pretty good. Damp cloth. And I'm just going to scrub everything. And then I will wipe off the leather. All right, I want to get the inside of this really dry. It's really only slightly damp. I think you can see it pretty well. Well, you see, the thing you can cheat with this, and I think I will. I have seen YouTubers do that. I've seen people do this, YouTubers do this, is when you turn it back right side out, you don't really have to push the corners out all the way. And so all that dirt, I will actually push it out right now because it's wet. But you can push it back in, and all that dirt that I've been scrubbing at would disappear and it would be invisible anyway. And a little bit of wear on the corners would not show. Hope you can see it. I think it looks a lot cleaner, don't you? I wasn't sure if the color is coming off on camera, so I wanted you to see it with some other blues. This shade is called Thistle, and here is the bag I bought. This cup here is pretty much of a regular old sky blue, and this one is more of an aqua blue.